The Crown Estate staff have resorted to moving Andrew's belongings under cover of darkness, not for security, but out of sheer embarrassment. Nighttime trips to storage facilities have become routine, as daylight removals risk scrutiny over just how bad the hoarding has become. From unopened shopping boxes to mounds of royal memorabilia, the sheer volume of possessions inside Royal Lodge is staggering.
If you love getting the real story behind the palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update.
More than just a logistical hurdle, it's a silent admission that Andrew's departure is far from under control, and the secrecy around it suggests the royal institution is desperate to avoid another scandal. These covert removals paint a stark picture. Andrew isn't preparing for a move. He's resisting it at every turn. The monarchy is managing this transition in silence, hoping the chaos doesn't spill into public view. But every box moved at midnight hints at a deeper crisis, a royal figure emotionally stuck, and an institution unsure how to handle him. With a 2026 deadline fast approaching, the silence speaks volumes. You'd think Prince Andrew's 2026 move-out date from Royal Lodge would be a clean transition, right? Pack some boxes, hire a few vans, maybe leave behind a few dusty relics. But apparently, this is not your average royal relocation. What's supposed to be a straightforward downsize has turned into a full-blown logistical disaster, and the root cause, an overwhelming, borderline compulsive hoarding problem that no one inside the palace seems eager to talk about out loud. We're not just talking about old furniture or a few overstuffed closets. The estate is reportedly jam-packed with decades worth of unopened Amazon packages, forgotten photograph, boxes of royal memorabilia, dusty paperwork, and, yes, his infamous collection of teddy bears. All of it gathering dust inside Royal Lodge, effectively turning a royal residence into something more closely resembling a storage unit with crown moldings. The situation has become so unmanageable that staff can't even tackle the mess during daylight hours. According to insider accounts, they've been resorting to nighttime removals, literally sneaking boxes out under cover of darkness to avoid scrutiny. These covert operations shuttle Andrew's belongings to Crown Estate storage facilities, as if every Amazon box and photo album were part of a top-secret mission. And here's where it gets even more absurd. Andrew doesn't want help. He refuses assistance in sorting or discarding anything, even as the walls close in around him. His reluctance isn't just logistical, it's deeply emotional. Staff aren't just moving objects, they're dismantling a version of Andrew's identity he can't seem to part with. Every trinket, every unopened parcel, represents a time when things were simpler, or at least less humiliating. The emotional weight of this hoard is especially evident in his attachment to his teddy bears. Yes, full-grown man, royal title, and still clinging to plush animals. But these aren't just bedtime companions from childhood, they are symbolic. According to those familiar with the situation, Andrew's bond with these bears is so intense that any talk of boxing them up triggers emotional distress. Some insiders have even said he worries about how the bears will cope with the transition. It's less about the stuff and more about what the stuff represents. These bears, those unopened boxes, they're artifact of a life Andrew seems unable to admit is over. His fall from public grace, his retreat from royal duties, his looming downgrade, all of it is materialized in the very things he refuses to part with. And the move from Royal Lodge? That's not just a relocation. It's a forced acceptance of who he is now, not who he used to be. Meanwhile,
if you love getting the real story behind the palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update.
The optics surrounding Andrew couldn't be worse. Images linking him to the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein scandal are still floating around. Photos that include not just Andrew but controversial names like Bill Gates, only fueling the fire. The association alone keeps him tethered to public shame, no matter how many times Buckingham Palace tries to shift the narrative. It creates a strained paradox. On one hand, Andrew is trying to cling to his royal identity through physical possessions. On the other, the world is still associating him with scandal and disgrace, which makes any sense of normalcy in Royal Lodge feel more like an illusion. And yet, he continues to show up at royal events, almost as if nothing's changed. It's as though his physical presence is supposed to erase the headlines, but it doesn't. The royal family, for their part, appears to be walking a tightrope. They haven't publicly disavowed Andrew, but the signs of distancing are there. The downgrade plan is telling. Instead of a palatial estate like Royal Lodge, Andrew's next stop is likely a far more modest property on the Sandringham estate. It's not a punishment per se, but it's hard to see it as anything but a strategic shift. The Crown needs space between itself and Andrew, literally and symbolically. There's also talk that Andrew may be spending significant time abroad, particularly in Bahrain, where luxurious property reportedly awaits him. Whether this is an exile or a personal escape is up for debate, but what's certain is that it puts even more emotional and physical distance between Andrew and the life he once lived. Still, Royal Lodge remains his obsession, and as long as he clings to it, the royal family's attempt to move forward continues to hit roadblocks. Staff describe the atmosphere at Royal Lodge as quietly chaotic. On the outside, it's business as usual, but inside, it's a maze of half-packed rooms and emotionally charged decisions. Every box removed in secret feels like a betrayal to Andrew and a relief to everyone else involved. It's not that the staff doesn't want to help, it's that they can't make progress when every attempt to sort or remove something triggers resistance. Andrew's behavior suggests not just reluctance, but complete denial. He doesn't believe the move is happening, or maybe he believes he can somehow outlast the plan. Either way, his refusal to engage with the process is causing delays and confusion. With the move scheduled for 2026, there should be more than enough time. But given the current pace and Andrew's psychological hurdles, there's growing concern that the deadline will be missed entirely. What makes this so difficult for everyone involved is the sheer unpredictability of Andrew's reaction to each step. One day is cooperative, the next is shutting doors and refusing access. It's not just stubbornness, it's fear. Fear of what the move represents. Fear of losing his place. Fear of fading into irrelevance. That fear gets projected onto the stuff. To Andrew, every item is a lifeline. Meanwhile, behind palace doors, the logistics team is quietly panicking. The scale of the mess is massive. Decades of unchecked accumulation, all crammed into a royal residence that was never meant to double as a storage locker. Every object has to be catalogued, boxed, preserved, or discarded, and none of that can happen smoothly if Andrew's blocking every decision. The issue isn't just about space, it's about symbolism. Royal Lodge is more than a home to Andrew. It's a last stronghold, a physical manifestation of his former status. Letting go of it means accepting the irreversibility of his public fall, and is not ready. The clutter, the secrecy, the nighttime removals, they all point to a man who's not just disorganized, but deeply unwilling to move on. Even when alternatives are offered, they don't stick. The Sandringham downgrade is on the table. Bahrain is in the mix. But Royal Lodge is still where Andrew feels tethered, even if that tether is now a burden to everyone else. His refusal to acknowledge that fact is why the move keeps getting pushed further down the road, both literally and figuratively. There's also an institutional frustration that's starting to show. For a monarchy obsessed with appearances, this saga is starting to chip away at the image of control. If they can't manage one man's move out, what does that say about their ability to modernize and adapt? The royal family has tried to keep things quiet, but the whispers are getting louder. Every delay reflects poorly, not just on Andrew, but on the system that continues to accommodate him. What's worse is that there's no clear resolution. The emotional resistance is too strong, the physical clutter too overwhelming, and the public scrutiny too intense. Andrew isn't just stalling a move, he's stalling a transition the entire royal family needs him to complete. And with every passing month, the question looms larger. Will he really leave in 2026? Or will Royal Lodge become the monarchy's most awkward open secret? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about moving boxes. It's about letting go of identity, privilege, and the illusion of permanence. Andrew's resistance isn't just annoying, it's telling. It reveals the emotional architecture of someone who hasn't reconciled with his public downfall. His clinging to a past the rest of the family has already moved on from. And the real cost isn't just measured in delays or logistics. It's measured in public perception, strained staff, and the royal family's ongoing struggle to modernize while still dragging around unresolved baggage. Whether Andrew leaves in 2026 or stays indefinitely, the damage is already visible. Royal Lodge isn't just full of stuff, it's full of unresolved questions. People close to the situation say it's not just an attachment to things, it's an aversion to endings. Prince Andrew doesn't just see Royal Lodge as a home, he sees it as proof that he still belongs. still has a place, still matters. And once that's gone, what's left? A downgraded estate, a reduced role, and a name forever linked to scandal. No wonder he's clinging to every teddy bear like it's a lifeline. But that psychological grip is beginning to crack the system around him. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Every time he delays the process, it sends ripples through royal logistics, royal optics, and royal patience. He might be surrounded by yes-men in lodge, but outside those gates, the whispers are growing louder. The embarrassment is creeping closer. Even Crown Estate staff have reportedly voiced concerns, not just about the mess, but about the inability to proceed with necessary maintenance and inspections. With so many rooms blocked off by hoarded items, they can't do routine work. It's not just awkward, it's unsustainable. What was once a functioning residence is now stalled in a holding pattern, trapped by clutter and unresolved pride. Some items are said to be deteriorating, boxes showing signs of water damage, documents exposed to the elements, areas of the home off-limits because no one can even get inside. It's a ticking time bomb of damage and delay. Every day it gets worse, and yet Andrew refuses to acknowledge the scale of the problem. To him, it's just his stuff. To everyone else, it's a crisis wrapped in. Behind the scenes, Queen Camilla is said to be especially concerned. While she's publicly remained neutral, sources close to the royal inner circle suggest she views the entire royal lodge fiasco as a cautionary tale of unchecked indulgence. This isn't just about Andrew's refusal to move. It's about the monarchy's inability to impose boundaries when necessary. There's reportedly been tension between those who believe in giving Andrew time and space to adjust, and others, like Camilla, who are tired of waiting. She's seen firsthand how indecision becomes dysfunction. And with so much of the royal brand hinging on modernity and reform, one man's clutter is fast becoming a metaphor for the monarchy's larger issues. Still, Andrew doesn't see it that way. In his mind, he's protecting what's his. There's a deep stubbornness at play, an almost regal defiance, even as his power dwindles. He insists on making decisions himself, even when those decisions lead to gridlock. Whether it's about where to store the photographs, how to handle the gifts, or what to do with the bays, he insists on control. It's control that, at this point, seems more performative than productive. It's not moving the process forward. It's just prolonging the inevitable. And while Andrew sees himself as the last protector of his legacy, everyone else sees a man drowning in his own past, unable, or unwilling, to accept where he stands now. And the monarchy? It's quietly recalibrating around him. Other senior royals are adjusting, modernizing, leaning into the future. But Andrew remains a glaring exception, a relic of old-world royal privilege stuck in a very public state of denial. The contrast is hard to ignore. While others lean into streamlined image management, he's got unopened Amazon boxes sitting in what used to be staterooms. Even the optics of the secret nighttime removals have created PR headaches. The idea that staff are sneaking out belongings like contraband isn't just bizarre, it's humiliating. For a family obsessed with appearances, this is a worst-case scenario, a slow-moving meltdown they can't quite cover up. And all the while, Royal Lodge itself is slipping into disrepair. The very home Andrew's fighting to stay in is becoming less livable by the month. With clutter piled in hallways and furniture barricading doors, it's less a royal residence and more a museum of unresolved personal issues. Staff can't clean properly, repairs are delayed, and the general energy of the place has reportedly grown tense and exhausted. Some insiders even say the home has become inhospitable, not because of lack of resources, but because of emotional chaos. One aide described it as frozen in time. No progress, no change, just endless waiting for a move that keeps getting postponed, not by circumstance, but by one man's unwillingness to face reality. Every time Andrew walks through those halls, he walks through a maze of his former life. Every shelf, every unopened parcel, is a snapshot of who he used to be. And that's the hardest part. Because letting go of those things means letting go of that version of himself. The version that was respected, untouched by scandal, still welcome in the public eye. It's not surprising that he's resisting, but it is striking how much his resistance is costing everyone else. Staff morale has reportedly tanked. The royal household is growing frustrated, and still, no one can give a definitive answer on when the final move will happen. Not even Andrew, because the truth is, he might not be planning to leave at all. Even King Charles, who has taken a much firmer stance on streamlining the monarchy, has been put in an uncomfortable spot. Pushing Andrew out too hard risks inflaming tensions. Going too soft keeps the drama alive. It's a lose-lose situation, and Charles knows it. But the longer Andrew stalls, the more it reflects on the institution. And then there's Princess, and often the no-nonsense voice in the room. She reportedly supports a hard cut-off date, emphasizing duty over sentiment. She's known for getting things done quietly, efficiently, and without fanfare. So watching Andrew drag this out for years has been a source of quiet disbelief. Not just because of the optics, but because it's an open wound in a family that needs less drama, not more. As we inch closer to 2026, that wound shows no signs of healing. There's no public plan, no official countdown, just growing anxiety about whether Andrew will ever fully leave Royal Lodge. And even if he does, will it be on time? Or will it come after another wave of secret removals, emotional meltdowns, and quietly postponed deadlines? Because this isn't just a move, it's a reckoning with privilege, scandal, and the kind of personal resistance that turns small decisions into national talking points. Andrew isn't just hoarding belongings, he's hoarding identity. And as long as that continues, the royal family will keep circling the same drain. At some point, someone will have to step in. Whether it's a firm directive from Charles, a structural safety issue, or just sheer logistical necessity, the standoff can't go on forever. But every delay chips away at the credibility of a monarchy already under pressure to evolve. Every unopened box becomes symbolic of a bigger problem. What happens when privilege meets reality and refuses to budge? And for viewers watching this unfold, the question isn't just will he move? It's what does it say that he still hasn't? Because this isn't just about clutter. It's about what happens when someone refuses to accept that the chapter has ended and keeps trying to live in the margins of a story that's already been rewritten. What makes this entire ordeal so strangely fascinating is how something so mundane, moving house, has become a high-stakes royal saga. Most people deal with the stress of moving, sure, but this isn't about finding a new spot for a couch or figuring out where the cutlery drawer goes. This is about legacy, status, denial, and the visible unraveling of someone who's not ready to face the music. And while the royal family can stage photo ops and PR redirections all they want, they can't hide the fact that one of their own is now effectively holding up the show. The symbolic weight of Royal Lodge, this grand estate meant to reflect tradition and continuity, is now being dragged down by overstuffed rooms and a refusal to adapt. It's as poetic as it is awkward. Because when you strip away the grandeur, this isn't a royal issue. It's a very human one. The inability to let go, the fear of becoming irrelevant, the urge to surround yourself with a past when the present feels like punishment. Andrew may still hold a title, but the role that came with it, that's long gone. And yet, he clings to the trappings of that old life, hoping maybe no one will notice the dissonance. Unfortunately for him, everyone's noticed. The press has clocked it. The palace has clocked it. And the public? They've been clocking it for years. Every delay, every report of unopened boxes, every mention of those teddy bears just add to the narrative of a man stuck in time while the rest of the world keeps moving. Meanwhile, the rest of the royal family has very little room for nostalgia. With public opinion more scrutinizing than ever, everyone is on thin ice. From Charles to William to Catherine, the message is clear: modernize or fade out. There's no space for old reputations, and certainly not for unresolved scandals hiding behind closed doors in Windsor. That's why this isn't just about Andrew. It's about what the monarchy does when one of its own becomes an immovable object. The idea that Andrew's personal hang-ups could disrupt the Crown's long-term strategy is more than inconvenient. It's a problem. And unlike other crises, this one can't be blamed on outsiders. This is a mess entirely of their own making. And yet, the palace's handling of it remains bafflingly soft. The whispered deadlines, the quiet nudges, the nighttime removals, they all reek of hesitation. No one seems willing to be the one to draw the line. Not yet. Maybe it's loyalty. Maybe it's fear of another scandal. Or maybe it's just the slow grind of an institution that still struggles to confront its own. But eventually, someone's going to have to say, enough. Enough with the stalled removals. Enough with the excuses. Enough with pretending Royal Lodge isn't turning into a monument to royal avoidance. Because if this carries on much longer, Andrew won't just be delaying a move. He'll be defining this entire chapter of the monarchy by his refusal to move forward. So here we are, staring down the same question that's been lingering for months. Will he leave? Will Prince Andrew finally let go of the possessions, the photographs, the teddy bays, and face what everyone else already knows? That Royal Lodge isn't a forever home anymore. That the chapter is closed. That the boxes should have been packed yesterday, and the emotional baggage sorted years ago. Or will he stay locked in his self-made museum of memory, dragging this saga out until 2026 rolls and like a deadline no one believes anymore? Let us know what you think in the comments. Will Andrew finally make the move, or will he stall until the gates of Royal Lodge have to be closed behind him for good? If you're into royal drama that spirals way beyond protocol and into full-on meltdown territory, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs a tea, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next, because something tells us the story isn't ending anytime soon.